Welcome to the Power of Peacefulness podcast. We're all about bringing peace into your life. If you like this podcast, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up. And if you need some extra help, go ahead and download my free resource. You can find that at SharonMcLaughlinMD/workbook. It's a workbook all about peacefulness. So if you need some peace in your life, try the workbook. All right, let's get started. Hey, everybody. Today we have Jessica Dawda with us. She has a background, MBA in business and also engineering. So I'm so happy to have you here on our show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be on the show.
I wanted Jessica to come on our show because we're going to be talking about mental health. Typically, every week we speak about the power of peacefulness and how important it is to have stress relief in your life and take care of yourself. So Jessica has an app, but I want to go to the background first. Tell us what was your interest in engineering? Most women don't go that way. Tell us from an early start how you got involved in engineering.
Okay, so I used to love cars. I used to love machines. And that's how I started my journey into engineering. So I did my engineering in mechanical. And I became a mechanical engineer and I used to design hydraulic motors. So that's how my journey started.
Jessica, were your parents, from the time you were young and you loved mechanics, did your parents support you with this?
Yes, definitely.
I think it makes such a difference, right? Like girls will like play with the dolls and the men are like play with tools and build. You got into engineering and somehow you got into mental health. So tell us about that. Not that you made the transition, you could still be very much an advocate for mental health, create products and services in the mental health and be an engineer. But how did that come about? Why is mental health so personal to you?
I would like to share my story here. So, post my MBA, I joined a lot of organizations, started with Uber, then moved to Amazon, then joined a couple of Indian startups as well. What really took me in was the work hours. I used to work very hard. I used to work for 20 hours a day. I mean, that's what I used to enjoy. Eventually, what happened is that without even me realizing, the stress was kicking in. I started facing a lot of fatigue. I started facing a lot of physical issues. I had been visiting doctors, multiple doctors for an entire year. Like I used to have gut issues, I used to go to a gut specialist. I had dizziness, I used to go to a neurologist. Every doctor treated me as per the symptoms. So I covered everything allopathy, Ayurvedic, homeopathy, every type of treatment I took. Until that one day when I woke up with a severe panic attack. So that was my first counter. Okay, after a struggle of entire 1 year in diagnosing that what exactly is happening with me, that one early morning decided that yes, I had fallen prey to a mental health, which I never thought I would. I was a typical person who will say that I am absolutely fine. And that's when my first encounter came here. Mental health has been always close to me because I've seen a lot of people getting into anxiety, getting into depression near and dear one. So for me, accepting when a nurse just passed by, I was getting my ECG done because, every doctor thought that maybe I was having a heart attack. And that's when a nurse passed by and said, Jessica, everything is fine with you. You're just having a panic attack. So that's the point when I realized that, oh, okay, this is the time that even I have fallen into it. That's when I left my job. I left my corporate career and I took my mental health as my topmost priority. I wanted to understand more that, something that could have been diagnosed a year earlier, what really went wrong that I had landed up with a severe panic attack. So I started doing my research, spoke to a lot of therapists, spoke to a lot of psychologists, mental health professionals, everyone around. Then while I was doing my Google research, I came across a research paper which said you can predict your panic attacks and you can get a good hang of it using your wearable. And I'm a wearable person. So I had back then Fitbit, now I'm using Apple. So I went and I kind of, being an engineer, always loved data and machine. This is a
Mhm.
machine for me. So I kind of, fetched my back data of the last year, did my data modeling, and I could eventually, using those models, predict my panic attack. Then I spoke to my doctor who said that, Jessica, it's okay if you are able to predict, but let's try to reduce this now. And all this while, I am on beta blockers for my entire life. So I am taking medicines as well. Then my doctor said that, because you're able to identify and take it pretty well, why don't you start jotting down the triggers? I started jotting down my triggers. Then she connected me to a breath coach, and there was an entire plan that worked out for me. After a struggle of 1.6 years of diagnosing and treatment, today I'm proud to say that I have reduced my panic attack by 95% and I'm free of medicines. So that's the journey, and that's how an entrepreneurship in mental health started.
Jessica, I want to step back for a second. You mentioned you were working up to like 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
Do you think in retrospect you were trying to run from something? Were you that interested in it? Or was it that you just didn't want to deal with life? Sometimes workaholics will overwork to avoid something. It's an avoidance behavior.
Yes, it is partially true, but there was a lot of competitive spirit around me because you're always taught and you're always told to achieve as much as you can. That's the philosophy that was ingrained in me. Always wanted to kind of get the highest of the promotion. So that a part of it, the competition in me always kept me working. And obviously, because you're such a workaholic and you've never paid attention to your life, you find that boring. You don't know how to stay free. You don't know how to enjoy that part of your life. So again, to avoid that, I used to work more. So that's my story on being workaholic.
All right. You mentioned the wearables and panic attacks.
Hmm.
You also mentioned medication. The medication, beta blockers, was used to treat your panic attacks, right? You weren't on it for any heart condition prior to this?
No, no heart condition at all.
Okay. So the beta blockers, for those that are listening out there, it can help reduce anxiety. Sometimes we take beta blockers before we give a presentation for those people that don't like public speaking. Beta blocker could be helpful. I'm not going to say it's a solution because it has side effects and you need to discuss this with your doctor. This is why Jessica was on beta blockers for the anxiety, the panic attacks. So tell us about the wearables. You mentioned you were very much into wearables, data collection. How did you get the idea of, wow, I can go ahead and maybe help others now that because I've been looking at my data and I can predict when I'm going to have an anxiety attack. I also have been doing some different like exercises and changing my behavior so I can actually reduce my panic attacks. How did this all come about with the thought of doing an app?
When mental health issues started occurring, I left my job. And being a workaholic and staying back at home is something which didn't go well with me. So I always thought that I will do something for myself. I'll do something of my own. That spark was always there. And wanted to do something which is for a greater good, which is for a cause. Didn't just want to start a business. And mental health was close to me earlier as well, because as I told you, I had seen a lot of people around me. And then I had gone through it. So then at that point, I said, I realized, that this is a good business opportunity. Definitely. As an entrepreneur, it looks like a good business opportunity because there aren't any applications, methods available to detect and predict panic attacks, diagnosing the early screening part of it. Secondly, I spoke to a lot of people who are facing similar issues. And they also told me that, Jessica, why don't you start building something or give us something so that we can implement a similar thing on us as well? That's when I had my aha moment. And I said that if this has helped me, let me just go out, build something out of it, and give it to the world. And that's how I kind of started building, and Stress Monitor app happened.
The title of your app again, so that people can find it. Is it available to public?
Stress Monitor Watch app. It's available on App Store at this moment.
All right. And then tell us what the app can do.
First of all, takes down your wearable data. You have to connect your Apple Watch. Based on your heart rate patterns and HRV, It will give you real-time alert when you are facing stress, anxiety, or panic. You'll get a quick alert on your watch. Then you just have to feed in a trigger event that what exactly is happening. You might just want to add physical symptoms as well. So it collects two things, your trigger event and physical symptoms that you're facing at that moment. Then we quickly give you two calming methods, which I had applied on me, which can be done on the go. It's not something that you need to kind of spare 15-20 minutes for it. Let's say, for example, I'm right now on a podcast with you and I'm feeling a bit jittery and stressed. I would be doing some technique which you might not even realize. So those are the two calming techniques that we'll give you. This is the base of our app. Eventually, we identify each trigger as a panic event, anxiety event, and a stressful event. And then we give you solutions. So the first solution that we offer is a breathe work pattern, which is based on your wearable data. So as per your data, which breathing rate suits you the best? That is that breathing rate we use, and we give you a quick animation on your watch so that even while working or doing your normal work, you can just, do that breathing and it's easier to do. Second piece, which we are about to introduce, is that whenever you have suffered a panic or an anxiety attack, we quickly send a WhatsApp message to one loved one whose number you've saved so that they can come and confront you. They can come and help you at that moment so that you don't feel alone. And the third thing that we are offering is a chatbot. So basically, MindGenie is the chatbot which will talk to you as a friend. It will not give you any guidance, but it will be there to help you out. Just vent and release whatever wrong that is going on with you. And then and if the intensity of your panic attacks or anxiety attacks is high, then we would recommend you to reach out to mental health professionals, because that's where we kind of, keep a blocker that we are here to do the early screening. Rest, the mental health professionals are the experts and they will be able to take there from.
Jessica, I love this so much. What has been the response so far with people doing this, using your app?
Yes, so it has been good. We've got around 6,000 downloads till date in last 2 months. And people are liking. Actually, it was a beta version, so they were coming back and telling us that we need this feature, that feature. So it's still in progress, but yes, the response has been pretty good, and people are asking for more.
So again, the app is called Stress Monitor.
Stress Monitor Watch app.
And Jessica, if people want to get a hold of you, how would they reach out to you?
Okay, so there is a mail ID which is given on the website, which is my personal mail ID. So I kind of personally respond to everyone who reaches out to me. Secondly, I'm readily available on LinkedIn as well. Anyone reaches out to me on LinkedIn, I'm always.
Jessica, thank you so much for being here. Remember, we were speaking to Jessica Dawda, has a new app that's out all about stress relief. So check it out. And I'll see you guys next week on The Power of Peacefulness. If you like this episode, do me a favor. Make sure you give it to a friend, share it with somebody, and make sure to like it and follow it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.